U.S. China hail constructive Geneva trade talks.
Nghệ An Province and Viêng Chăn Capital sign cooperation agreement.
20 years old and the aspiration for independence of young man Nguyễn Tất Thành.
Hello, so good to see you again in today's news, and here we go, the first headline of the show. The U.S. and China both reported substantial progress after 2 days of talks in Switzerland aimed at de-escalating a trade war.
U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said the two sides have made significant progress in important trade negotiations. Although he did not release further details, Secretary Scott Bessent affirmed that there will be a full report on May 12. Also in Geneva, Chinese Vice Premier He Lifeng told reporters that the negotiations had made significant progress and the atmosphere was frank, profound and constructive. Meanwhile, Chinese ambassador to the World Trade Organization, WTO, Li Chunggong said the two countries agreed to establish a joint mechanism, focusing on communication to resolve disagreements related to trade issues.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky just affirmed that Kiev is ready for direct dialogue with Moscow. The statement was made after Russian President Vladimir Putin proposed direct talks in Turkey, and the U.S. President Donald Trump asked the Ukrainian leader to accept this offer.
President Zelensky emphasized that Ukraine is ready to meet and expressed hope that Russia will commit to a comprehensive ceasefire for 30 days, starting from May 12. According to him, Moscow's beginning to consider ending the conflict is a positive sign. However, President Trump expressed skepticism that the two sides can reach a ceasefire agreement at the present time. According to the U.S. leader, Moscow wants to meet directly to negotiate a complete end to the conflict, and urged Kiev to accept this offer immediately. Earlier, President Putin proposed direct negotiations with Ukraine on May 15 in Turkey, aiming to end more than 3 years of conflict. According to the Kremlin, the goal of direct negotiations that Russia proposed with Ukraine is to eliminate the root causes of the conflict and protect Russia's interests.
The high-ranking delegation of Nghệ An Province, led by Secretary of Provincial Party Committee Nguyễn Trung, held talks and signed an important cooperation agreement with the high-ranking delegation of Viêng Chăn capital, Laos, led by the Secretary of the City Party Committee and the Chairman of Viêng Chăn capital, People's Council, announced the have torn along.
The cooperation agreement for the period 2025 to 2028 includes cooperation between the People's Committee of Nghệ An Province and the Viêng Chăn Capital Government Committee, as well as between the People's Councils of the two localities, focusing on the fields of politics, diplomacy, investment, trade, culture, sports, tourism, education, agriculture, forestry, science and technology and other potential fields. Secretary of the Provincial Party Committee Nguyễn Tất Thành emphasized the importance of strengthening cooperation with Lao localities and informed about the Viêng, Tan Thuy, Nam On Expressway project, part of the Hanoi-Viêng Chăn route, which is expected to promote economic connectivity. Secretary of the Viêng Chăn Party Committee Anufap Tunalom highly appreciated Nghệ An's achievements and emphasized the realization of cooperation contents, especially on the Laos-Vietnam connection route. The two sides discussed in-depth solutions to effectively implement the agreement, contributing to strengthening the special friendship between Vietnam and Laos.
Upcoming are some updated news.
In April 2025, Nghệ An approved investment policies or granted investment registration certificates to 6 projects, with a total investment capital of over 377 billion Vietnamese dongs. At the same time, the province also adjusted 14 projects, including 6 capital adjustments, increasing the total adjusted investment capital by nearly 359 billion Vietnamese dongs. The total newly granted and adjusted capital in the month reached 736 billion Vietnamese dongs. Accumulated to the end of April 2025, Nguyen Province has licensed 16 new investment projects with a total investment of 2,600 billion Vietnamese dongs. The province is also implementing a focused investment promotion strategy, prioritizing attracting high-tech and green growth projects. At the same time, continue to promote administrative reform, digital transformation, improve the investment environment, and create favorable conditions for business development.
In recent years, tourism development linkage activities between the three provinces of Thanh Hóa, Nguyen and Ninh Binh have been increasingly focusing on developing new tourism products with cultural characteristics. A number of green tourism itineraries have begun to be implemented and are being continued to be completed by travel agencies such as Discovering Community Tourism in Western Nguyen, Phu Mat National Park, Ben En National Park, Trang En, Caravan Tour to explore the Ho Chi Minh Trail, journey connecting ancient Vietnamese capitals. To promote effective linkage, localities are focusing on developing Ninh Binh tourism, the beauty of the ancient capital, Thanh Hóa tourism, the scent of four seasons, and Nguyen tourism, green journey. These are the main development axes of the regional linkage chain.
All 8 students from Vietnam excellently won medals at the 2025 Asian Physics Olympiad, APHO, which was held in Dhahran, Saudi Arabia, from May 4 to 12, including 3 gold, 3 silver, and 2 bronze medals, of which 2 male students from Phan Boi Chau High School for the Gifted in Nguyen Province. Nguyen The Quan won the gold medal and Phan Quang Triet won the silver medal. Notably, Nguyen The Quan is also the student with the highest score in the Vietnamese team with 32.15 points and became one of 5 official members selected to attend the 2025 International Physics Olympiad.
In those days, when the whole country is looking forward to the 135th birthday of the late President Ho Chi Minh, each Vietnamese citizen feels a surge of emotion, recalling the journey across the ocean undertaken by the young man Nguyễn Tất Thành in his quest to save the nation. At the age of 20, with nothing but his 2 bare hands and a burning desire for the freedom of his compatriots and the independence of his nation, the young man from the poor village of Nam Dan district, Nghệ An province, to set out to find a way to save his country. More in the story.
In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the country was submerged in slavery. Patriotic movements continuously failed. In that context, the young man Nguyen Tat Thanh, with a patriotic heart, love for the people and a vision beyond the times, chose a different path. Not to start a violent uprising, not to ask for help from outside, but to go to Western countries. France, the stronghold of colonialism and the enemy that dominated our nation, was his first stop on this journey.
Nguyễn Tất Thành đã đặt chân đến Pháp.
Nguyen Tat Thanh arrival in France was not a spur-of-the-moment choice but demonstrated strategic vision and a bold scientific approach. France at that time was the center of colonialism and also the place where the enlightened ideas of thinkers were formed.
On June 5, 1911, from Nha Rong Port, Nguyen Tat Thanh left the fatherland on the ship Latouche Travel, with the name Van Ba. With no luggage, no money, he asked to be a kitchen assistant, starting a series of hard-working days across 5 continents. From waiting tables, lighting stoves to shoveling snow in the freezing winter nights in Europe. Those days of hard work did not discourage him but instead lit up his revolutionary ideals and his desire to liberate the nation. Uncle Ho is a person who had a spirit of community and shared joys and sorrows with the poor. This is one of his noble humanitarian thoughts about humanity. Nguyen Ai Quoc's journey to find a way to save the country is not only a historical milestone but also a flame that inspires today's generation. Many high schools have integrated lessons about Uncle Ho and the nation's history in a vivid form, so that students not only remember but also educate them about patriotism, pride, and gratitude for his immense contributions.
Khi dạy cho học sinh về cái giai đoạn
When teaching students about Uncle Ho's journey to find a way to save the nation, both the teacher and the students have many emotions. At such a young age, Uncle Ho accomplished extraordinary things and endured such hardships. From this, the students develop a deep admiration for him. As a child of Nagin, I think I need to build for myself a noble ideal of life, have determination in everything, and become a useful person for society.
At the age of 20, President Ho Chi Minh left with nothing but his desire for national independence. More than a century has passed, but that journey remains valuable and inspires young people to live with ideals. Be grateful and contribute to their homeland.
Now is the end of the show today. Thank you so much for your attention. Goodbye and see you later.